folks, and welcome to my garage. Today I've got a little bit of a project. Hopefully it's pretty straightforward, but never know. This is my 1977 Chevy K10. I bought it for $500 from a kid in Iowa who didn't have his driver's license yet and didn't know how carburetors work. This is a carbureted engine. Threw a rocker on it. I don't know how I did that, but the thing barely would run. It was pretty rough. He wanted to go to something that was fuel injected, so he decided to just get rid of this for $500. This was in the summer of 2018. So I ran down there. I flat towed this thing back. I'm just south of the Twin Cities, so I think it was a 3-hour flat tow job bringing this back. I have digged around with it quite a bit. It originally had just a regular pickup truck bed on it. I had a service bed on it for a while. It runs and drives. Doesn't necessarily look like it, especially considering the rocker panels are just held on with hopes and dreams. But it works. I brought it in here 2 winters ago. Before I had a back injury, my intention was to do quite a bit of work on this, and I just wasn't able to do it. And I finally kind of now have time to do it again. Had to do a bunch of repairs to the frame. It's actually rusted out, rusted completely through on the leaf spring hangers, so I boxed all of that in, supported it from the inside. I've welded on boxing support in the very back, so that I can put a trailer hitch back on this thing. It came factory with the wagon style swinging hitch, which was all rotted out. Got rid of that. So the frame now is all hunky-dory. The drive line's all good. It's got brakes. The bearings are all good. At some point it does need new leaf springs front and rear, but I've got new shocks on it, so it'll work for the moment. Tires hold air. Toyota rims. But the big thing I got to do today is fix the fuel system. It's not really hooked up safely or legally, and I need to be able to move this truck out of this side of the garage and into the other side on the other side of this wall so I can bring in some other vehicles for service. This has basically been sitting here for a year and a half. It has driven out of the garage once, turned around and backed right in, so we need to make it so it's a little more functional. I've got rear taillights on order. They should come next week for this. Then it should be street legal again if I update the registration, and she should still have insurance on her. Maybe put the door back on, but yeah, fuel system's the big thing. I have the fuel tank. I need to open it up, see if it's clean inside. I didn't use the factory fuel tank on this one. I had a service bed on it. I have a 20-gallon auxiliary tank that I just stuck in the bed. So the factory style tank was just sitting outside with a rag stuffed in the inlet for 2 years almost. I have no idea if it's filled up with water and rust. I have to look and see if that's all good. Hopefully I can stick it back. It bolts up onto the side of the frame. I believe on this truck, when I got it, the fuel door was on the passenger side. I'm going to move it to the driver's side just so it's the same as my other vehicle. And the tank can be switched either side with the bracket, so that'll make it fairly easy. I'll have to measure things up and order a fuel hose and a latch. This is going to get a flatbed on it at some point when I get around to it, maybe when material prices come back down from being sky high. So I'll measure that all up so that I can get that on order, and hopefully this thing is back to a point today where I can turn it on and actually be using the factory fuel system. If not, I'll have a really good list of everything that I need to order to get it back up in running shape, and then I can get this sucker moved out of here and get some other stuff in here to work on. So let's get to it. Wish I had smell-o-vision, because all that brown stuff is varnish left over. Must have been just regular pump gas, E87. Not E87, just regular 87. And this one I took it off. Honestly, doesn't look too bad in there. There's a little bit of junk. Nothing that I don't think I can rinse out with a little bit of paint thinner. Well, a quick Google search just kind of revealed that I don't think I'm going to be able to find just a sock for this sending unit. Seems like everywhere just wants to sell you the whole sending unit. Price-wise, I don't know if it's worth just getting a whole new one. It would be nice knowing that there is some debris in the tank, that I'm not sucking stuff up through it. I do have another filter before the carburetor on this truck, but I'm gonna think about what's the right thing to do. I'm gonna be going back to the factory fuel gauge, so this sending unit hopefully works. I'll probably write down, there's a code on the inside there, and then some stuff on this side. I'll write it down and do a little bit of research to see if this is actually the right unit, because it's quite possible someone replaced this with just whatever was on hand. The other thing I have to figure out is this fuel filler hose. At a glance, it looks like it's about a 1 1/4 inch hose. 1 1/4 between 1 3/8, right in that kind of range. So we'll see what our options are for this return line. Probably should pop it off and measure it as well to make sure I get the right thing. Looks like probably a 5/8 line. It's about the right size. Yeah, 5/8. I think would be perfect. So now that we kind of have this stuff spec'd out, I can do a little bit of research, figure out if I need to do something different for this. If this is how it's going to stay, I'll put it back on, and then I can actually start mounting this to the truck, get the parts ordered for this, and keep chugging along. Alright, so after some dinking around on the internet here, I think I've come up with what I need for a fuel filler line. The tank on it's got 1 1/4 inch fuel filler hose intake, so we've got a foot of that. Some vent hose. I've got a just universal flatbed mount bracket. The actual like filler neck piece, I do need to figure out some sort of adapter to go to 3/4 inch, because that's what this filler neck comes with, and then just a cap to go with this filler neck assembly. Expensive stuff is not cheap. $122 for shipped to my door. It's actually more than that. I have to update the shipping there, but yeah, this gets me enough to safely fuel the vehicle. I'm not going to click order yet because I'm not 100% certain on these lengths that I need. I did look up, it looks like putting a screen or a sock on the pickup intake hose is not worth mucking around with. A lot of folks just say, no, if it's not there, just leave it the way that it is. So I'm going to do just that. And like I mentioned, I've got a fuel filter downstream, so I'm not worried about stuff making it into the carburetor, and the filter that's up in the engine compartment is a whole lot easier to access than the fuel filler sock is going to be. So I'm going to go start getting this tank installed, because I don't think there's any reason why I can't work on that yet.
Well, now I can't remember which one was the pickup and which one was the return line, so I go back and look at the footage and see if I can sort it out. I had the thought that I needed to make note of that earlier, and I didn't. I don't generally recommend the fuel tank bungee corded to the frame, but this didn't go on the road when I had this fuel tank on it, and I just put in just enough for it to pull fuel to be able to run, drive out of the garage and turn around. Then I just never packed it up when I was done with it last time, so now we can pack this up and get it out of here because we've got a real fuel tank again. Next order of business is I need to get the air cleaner back on this and adjust the choke, I think, because it tends to want to lock, either choke all the way on or choke all the way off, and it's just not working super well. I think all my vacuum lines are correct on this carburetor. It's really hard to find good information on carburetors sometimes. So this is just an old monojet GM deal, single barrel carburetor. Nothing fancy, but I'll get the air cleaner back on this and pull the choke a few times and see if I can't spot the problem I've already spotted. Just go get a screwdriver and get that tightened down, I think. I have to remember how all this goes together. Now something's gone awry here. I have the bolt to hold up for the lid, but must be metric thread because one of the loose bolts I have, so I think I'll figure out if I need to go recut a new bolt or something for this. Actually, I'm saved by the bell. I forgot I had another chunk of all thread here that is the correct size, so I'm going to get it all set up and we can use it to hold everything together. Sidetracked by other stuff and I didn't get back to this last night, so I've got a minute here where I can work on it, get a battery to stick in. I already put 5 gallons of gas in it, so she should be good to go there. I do need to look up a vacuum diagram for that carburetor. I figure if I can find something, I need to look again and see what there is out there because I don't trust the way I have it plumbed up. But I'll get this battery hooked up, set in here, and should be ready to get a test drive here shortly. I have this thing rigged up on a battery shut off because it's got a draw somewhere in the electrical system. I don't know where. I've never really bothered to go looking for it, so it's gonna stay the way that it is for the moment, and don't fix it if it ain't broke. I apologize, she's straight piped right now, so there's no exhaust or no muffler on the exhaust. Cranking it's going to take a second to bring up fuel to the carburetor, so I'm not expecting it to pop right off, but I'll start cranking it and get some fuel drawn up. I am amazed at how well she just popped off. I did not expect that at all. I figured she was going to fight and struggle to pop off, but she went right off, so maybe the carburetor is set up right. I don't know. It's been so long since she's run really at all. I was cranking on the wheel back and forth because I replaced the power steering pump on this thing. It's got the Saginaw style pump and it was shot, so I did that the last time when I backed it out and turned it around, and I was just making sure that all kind of looks like you do it. I do see there's a small leak in here. You look down right down there, there's just a little bit of oil. So I gotta see if I can tighten that a little bit so she's not leaking. I don't really want to leak there. I did order a puke tank for this thing's radiator because she doesn't currently have one. Just checking that I couldn't steal the wiper pump bottle off this, but it wouldn't work for my application. Well, heck yeah. It means I don't have nearly as much to do on this thing as I thought. I think that's where we're gonna end here. There's plenty more to do on this truck, but just gonna plug away at it day at a time. The long-term plan, this has the 250 cubic inch inline 6, not even the 292, so it's not the right engine for what I want out of it, but it works for right now. It's got okay compression, it's got good oil pressure. So I'm gonna keep running it as is, but I have a 5.3 LS from a Suburban that is sitting at the farm. The Suburban shot, it's totally rotted out, but the engine on it's still good. It's got 240,000 miles, I think, on it, but I gotta check the compression on that engine. If it's all good, then it's gonna end up coming in this. I'm gonna leave the 4-speed manual in this. I would like to change the gearing at some point because it is very slow, but that's the setup that works well with this engine. It's got a ton of torque down low for the size of the engine and the transmission, all that. So it lives, and I can get it out of here and work on other projects. Thanks for watching.